Hey guys, it's Friday, February 10th, and this is Newswave. So we're going to start today off by talking about South Park, the new one coming out, The Fractured Butthole, which is an awesome title, by the way, for a game. Here's the thing, though. It's being delayed again, and it was supposed to come out before Christmas time. It was supposed to come out in December. It was delayed to at some point this year. Well, now it's delayed till sometime next year. They're saying it'll be out sometime before April 2018, more than likely. However, who knows at this point? All they're telling us is it's going to be out before a certain date, not it's going to be out like quarter 4 of 2017 or quarter 1 2018. So they're basically just pushing it off and saying it'll be out eventually. Now, this really shouldn't be surprising to anyone right now because if you remember the first South Park game, Stick of Truth, it was delayed multiple times. I mean, it was supposed to come out back in like 2012, doesn't make it out until 2014, and it was delayed 2 or 3 times as well. So we're coming up on that quota now, which tells me that yes, it probably will be out 2018 for the new South Park game. I'm not really sure what's pushing this game back. I just don't know. I mean, yes, the game looks just like the show, but it's not like a massively technical looking game. When we got the one Stick of Truth, it looked like the show, but it wasn't like a graphical, spectacle or anything. So I'm not really sure what's pushing this guy back. But either way, I'm sure a lot of people are disappointed. I know I am because I'd like to play it. But this could also leave room for a possible Switch version, depending on where the Switch is at that time. But currently, it's still just slated for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And this next bit of news is actually about Snake Pass. And I made a video yesterday about this. So if you want to see more in-depth look at that, check out the video yesterday. But basically what happened was Sumo Digital was on stream and they decided to show off the Switch version of Snake Pass. While doing so, they went ahead and really put the Switch over. They talked about it being probably a super easy system to port to and develop for, and they even made mention that it only took them about a week to go from the PS4 version to then getting it up and running on the Switch version. Now, there were still probably other things they had to do, like optimize it for handheld mode, smooth out a couple rough edges and everything, and then overall just get the game ready for sale. But the game didn't take long at all to move over because they all share Unreal Engine 4 now. This little handheld Switch can do Unreal Engine 4 like the PS4 and the Xbox One can do that in an underlying framework. Of course, visual and resolution differences may apply, but overall, it can play the same games. And this is great because I was talking about yesterday how it is very approachable for Unreal Engine 4 to the point where you don't necessarily need to know how to code 100%. So you're going to see a lot more people develop indie games for the Switch now. And you've probably seen the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 remix is coming out for the PS4, but what you may have not seen is that there is a limited edition that is specific to the Square Enix store. Now you're going to see it here. The special edition does actually come with one of those pins. I don't know if you remember seeing the limited edition that just came out 2.8. They actually had a pin that came with it. Well, they're going to do the same thing for the remix limited edition of 1.5 and 2.5, and it's going to cost the same. You just have to order it on Square Enix's site. Of course, HD 1.5 and 2.5 for the PS4 comes with Kingdom Hearts Rechain Memories, 358/2, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Birth by Sleep, and then Recoded as well. That's due out March 28th. I don't know how long these pre-orders will last, but if you are interested and you're already going to get the game, consider, I guess, going to the Square Enix store and getting a pin with it. So this bit of news is actually really, really cool. And I looked at it and I was like, oh man, I hope this is actually happening. So they're writing the script and everything for what I'm about to tell you. So it's not set 100% in stone, but they are comfortable enough to come out and tell people about it. And this is for the possibility of an R-rated Power Rangers show. So the person who's designing and running the show for the new Castlevania series coming out on Netflix also has a severe interest in doing a Power Rangers show that is much more mature in content and a very violent version of Power Rangers the way they were describing it. And this, of course, is Adi Shankar. And this was in an interview with Polygon. What he had to say was, it's a complete retelling of the first 3 seasons, and it's going to be really dark. Like darker than any other Power Rangers series. Now, if you don't remember, there was a really cool, like crowdfunded kind of like a big trailer for a Power Rangers show or movie, and it was R-rated. It was on YouTube. It looked great. It was a really cool idea. I don't think anything really came of it, but it was just a really cool proof of concept that people are interested in a much more violent Power Rangers because we were kids when we saw it at first, obviously. Most of the 90s kids can agree with me. And now we're much older, and I think a lot of us are ready for a more mature and violent Power Rangers show. Not the movie that's coming out, because that doesn't really look like what I'm thinking of, and maybe you guys aren't thinking of either, but it would be really cool to see that. Netflix is a great place for that, I think. Again, most people have Netflix. It's a place you can go to and get away with more compared to the TV, where obviously you can't show certain things, you can't say certain things. Netflix, you can get away with a little more. You can put R-rated stuff on there, so I hope this happens. I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I'll let you guys know if anything else comes up. And during their earnings call today with investors, Activision came out and said that Destiny 2 is still on track to reach 2017, and we should get Destiny 2, hopefully, I would say probably in the fall or winter time. And that's good, but then they also went on to say that Call of Duty may be what fans are looking for. Now, if you've already forgotten, a lot of people did not want Infinite Warfare because it goes more futuristic, and I think a lot of people are starting to lose touch with Call of Duty because of this. We're going into like space with laser guns and everything. I think a lot of people miss the old school Call of Duty with, like people say, boots to grounds and everything, and you're running through the minefields, and it's more of a World War II feel than a Space Odyssey feel. So what do? They say Call of Duty is going to take gamers back to the roots of the franchise, which, if you don't remember, Call of Duty started out back in World War during obviously all of the old school shooting and smoke grenades and all kinds of stuff happening from back in the day when it was actual war. And of course, they went on to say that like space setting didn't resonate with fans, and it wasn't the success that they had planned, which is obvious because Call of Duty comes out, always a blockbuster, always a big seller, always pads their stats essentially at the end of the year for investors. And this should be Sledgehammer's time to do this. It's on a 3-year cycle, so it's time for Sledgehammer to step up and really give gamers a Call of Duty they're waiting for. Now, it's a 3-year cycle, so I feel like they had this in mind at least 1.5 to 2 years ago, that that's what this was going to be, an old school Call of Duty. I think Sledgehammer was looking at both sides and like, well, they're doing Black Ops, they're going into space, maybe we should be different and go back in time. And again, I've talked about this before, in gaming you want to be at least a little different, and Battlefield 1 showed that gamers do like that old school shooting and everything, like from World War I in that case. So I completely expect this new Call of Duty, which we will probably see announced between April and May. That's generally when we get a trailer of some kind. I would expect it to be a little more old school in terms of its shooting and just more gritty and dark compared to what we get now. Oh, and they also went on to say that there's not going to be another Skylanders game in 2017. That franchise will be held off to 2018. Makes a lot of sense considering Activision really likes to dilute their franchises by keep releasing more and more games. They really hurt Guitar Hero by doing that, just releasing so many games and making them worthless. And every time a new Skylanders game comes out, the old one doesn't have much meaning since the new one is backwards compatible with all the figures for the most part. So they should let this franchise rest for a little bit with what they have out now. And big news for Xbox owners, GTA 4 is now backwards compatible, but some people consider that their favorite or the best Grand Theft Auto. Well, guess what? You can go pop your copy in today, download the patches or the actual game usually, and you can start playing GTA 4 right on your Xbox One. So we talked about how Resident Evil 7 was starting to be like, people were speed running it constantly now, trying to get the best time. Well, somebody decided to take it a little further now, so it's a step further, and they're actually speed running the hardest difficulty with just a knife. And this comes from the person by the name of Quizzle. That's their handle, is Quizzle. And they actually ran all the way through Resident Evil 7 on the hardest difficulty, or the Madhouse run, which moves items around and makes Jack Baker run faster than you, so he can run you down really fast. And they decided to step it up a notch and run through it with just a pocket knife, which is ridiculous. But get this, not only did they finish it, they finished it in 2 hours and 49 minutes and 13 seconds. That is insane, considering most people can finish it on easy mode with 2 hours and 34 minutes and 7 seconds. That is fast. And most people go through Madhouse mode, and it takes forever because you're trying to hide from them constantly. You're constantly looking for items because they move them around. This person just rolls through it. Not only that, they're actually working on getting their time down even further. So who knows how much farther this is going to go. It seems like Resident Evil 7 has become a very popular game to speedrun, so don't be surprised if you start seeing times pop up that are less than 2 hours eventually. And the last bit of news comes courtesy of Ubisoft again, and this time they had some interesting things to say about their support for the Switch. So the Ubisoft CEO and board members and everything, obviously they're talking on their earnings call, and they had a few interesting things to say. Namely, they do of course announce that they kind of try to push Just Dance 2017 as a launch title for the system, because that's probably what was ready, that's what they want to put on there, and it shows the motion controls and everything. Awesome, sure. I'm sure plenty of people will buy it, But the big thing that they end up saying, I guess, towards the end of the call is that there are actual titles coming that are very strong for the machine, that are considered big games. And immediately there's a couple out there, but I think the biggest one a lot of people are thinking about is more than likely Assassin's Creed. Now, Assassin's Creed is supposed to take place in Egypt. It's been heavily rumored that it's coming to the Switch. That would be considered a very strong game for the machine since it's a very large open world game. We've heard that open world games work well on the Switch, but they're also talking about other games. So we may see some surprises going forward. E3 would be a great place to announce it and then show it off, but we will have to wait. They're being very vague. Everyone's still being vague about the Switch, and it's 3 or 4 weeks away now. So let's get transparent here, Nintendo. Let us know about a lot of stuff with the Switch that we need to know before we make this purchase. Of course, we're all going to make the purchase because it's sold out everywhere anyway, so they could probably wait till 2 days before the system comes out to tell us anything. But I hope in a week to 2 weeks we do find out more about the Switch through a Nintendo Direct or a stream or something, and I'll keep you guys informed if anything pops up in the news, so make sure you subscribe for that. And that's going to do it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think about the Switch's ease of development. I think it's going to help a lot for indie developers to jump on board, considering it's very easy to work with. And let me know if you would like to see an R-rated Power Rangers. I know I would. I think that'd be really cool to revisit a show like that, but with a more mature overtone, and it would be a full reboot of the first 3 seasons. So we'd go all the way through things like Lord Zed and the Green Ranger showing up. There's just so much cool stuff they could do. So let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you next time.